steady capacity ton kilometers grows to 8 to 10% a year. You know, given the business cycles, very capricious these days, and it's very easy to have a yo-yo pattern of growth. 1 year 10% capacity, another year 3%, another 2%. But that's terrible for planning. Gone are the days when SI used to grow at 20 to 30% in the early 70s. Gone. Mature airlines you can't. So we have taken a process of growing at a steady rate. Now we're going even more, 5 to 7%, not even this. So this was what was the policy at that time. Seat equals 8 to 10%. In other words, you order your aeroplanes based on that steady growth. And if the market comes down, you just stick to it. We also made a mistake. At once, we retrenched pilots and staff. That was the first bad experience. We tried to cut capacity, park the planes, and retrench the pilots. But the upturn came very quickly, and we had no pilots. This is how this policy was introduced. From mistakes made, steady growth rate. So in future, with a secular downturn, all the training pilots are sent to ground school, do ground jobs. So that way you don't lose the talent, and they still come back. Our newer pilots are redeployed to lower salaries, and then we bring them back. You don't lose them to the industrial competition. Now, of course, you develop a home base, expand the traffic into Singapore, the hub, and you stick to what we do best. Focus on core business, related business, no distraction. This is either stick to the knitting, do what you do best, and don't go and try and run other businesses. Now, this does not mean that you can't be a conglomerate, because I now sit on the board of Capital KSB. Capital is a conglomerate, but several core businesses, it can be done, but the evolution of the industry is very much different from SI. So they are stuck to this very rigidly and stick very much to engineering, ground handling, cargo airline, regional airline, that's all aviation. And finally, consistency, perseverance, and ethics. Next. The one in red is what Mr. Pillay had to say. And I thought I should share that. He said, sustained growth can be achieved only through innovation, imagination, prudent risk-taking, and entrepreneurial drive. Mr. Pillay was one of the earlier civil servants in the Ministry of Finance. As a bureaucrat, he was a really odd man out in the business world. But we were all amazed at his business acumen and the way he guided the growth of the airline and his leadership team to what the airline subsequently proved to be. It was very much driven through his innovation, and he himself is the greatest champion of open skies. He will go overseas to America, Washington Air Club, and speak to the Americans and say, you are not liberal, open up. He'll go to London Aerospace, he'll speak personally and be the sole voice. He'll go to IATA and criticize IATA for being protectionistic. Just one man, single-handed battle globally. And that's why the earlier slide I talked about consistency, tenacity, resistance. That's the kind of person he was, and that's the kind of management team. If something goes wrong, they will never give up, they will fight. And fighting spirit is SI very notorious, but I will share some episodes after this. So the success formula committed to expansion ahead of competitors. That means you put capacity ahead of demand. You don't wait. In India, it's the other way around. You look at historical figures, you wait for demand. By the time you come, you put your aeroplane, demand is still growing, so you're always lagging behind. We put capacity ahead of demand. Strategic location, hub and aviation at the crossroads of the world. This is another success factor. We're very fortunate we located at the hub, like a turnstile. Passengers coming, going through. Today you have tourists, number of people who come to Singapore, more than double the Singapore population of 5 million. Unbelievable, but that's what's happening. That's the hub effect. The other aspect is the focus on service, to offer the best equipment and service to customers. This is not a worn-out cliche, but it's very much what the management team and leadership believes in. The liberal aviation policy, we welcome any airline, because hopefully you get reciprocal access to the other markets. Consumer, we focus on value for money and quality service, not price. Value for money, and the consumer is intelligent enough to understand the price he pays, what value you get in service. Modern aircraft fleet, and therefore cost savings, on-time departures, lower maintenance costs, fuel savings, higher market profile, improved staff morale. Those are some of the underlying benefits. And then finally, of course, marketing and advertising push for the strong brand image worldwide. In fact, Singapore Airlines became the microcosm of Singapore. Everywhere, Singapore Airlines became the flag bearer of the country for 20, 30 years. And that would not have been possible for the outstanding advertising campaign and the image of Singapore girls. The human resources, you have to focus and develop loyalty and hardworking staff as one of the highest assets. Career advancement financial report. I spent 35 years. It was my second job after university, 2-3 years as Minister of Defense, and then I look behind. I enjoyed every moment with the SI group, and ended up my career with 12 stents in my body. That's the price. Many heart patients in SI with stents. That's the kind of workplace it is. Enjoyable, thrive, but you must keep your body in shape. Next, if you look at Pursuit of Excellence, I mentioned we have to read this book. Nowadays, people don't read the book because the company has a little leaflet, but the focus is Pursuit of Excellence, part of the company culture. Let me just pick one or two of these portions on product innovation. Free booths, in-flight entertainment, video, audio. In the 70s, IATA controlled the entire industry, and SI was supplying sandwiches which are double or triple the size of what other airlines were supplying. SI was giving free booths because we were not members of IATA, and every other IATA airline criticized SI. There were articles in newspapers, they were attacking us. When we attended conferences, I remember a few attended, and we were run down. But management team and leadership, sense of tenacity, never wavered. We were called names, and the word pariah was actually used. This is a pariah airline from Singapore. So I'm not manufacturing words. These are the words used in newspapers against the SI for the industry, because we never played by the rules. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a very profound lesson in strategy and in competitive business. He who controls the rules or changes the rules of the game wins, and that is what we try to do. We were changing the rules of the game. The IATA and its members were saying. If you were an IATA carrier, you would have to pay for sandwiches and you pay for your booths. That side is free. The more than fair. You want to get done, it's okay, so long you don't touch the house. Right? But that said, it was that kind of service orientation that woke up and excited the public with a branding image. It took us almost about 10 years or so, when IATA new leadership kept changing. Finally they had to come to terms, because the industry was also liberalizing, right? And the industry realized that the consumer was king, that the industry could no longer hide behind IATA's outdated rules that were not only anti-competitive but also anti-consumer. So they relented, they backed out. SI became a member of IATA. And all these rules, all these funny restraints were removed. So today we are part of IATA, and the industry has changed. Okay, I'm trying to rush through this part of anecdotes. Industry pariah, strategic global lobbying.